Hello, everyone. Today, we're diving into a true story that'll leave you stunned. Names and details have been changed to protect their privacy. Imagine this: your mother-in-law bans you from seeing your own family, calling them trash. How would you feel? Betrayed, furious. That's exactly where I found myself. This isn't just a family spat. It's a battle of control, secrets, and a comeback that'll make you cheer. What's her real motive? Stick around to uncover the truth. I met my husband, David, 5 years ago, at a community fundraiser. His warm smile and quick wit pulled me in. And within a year, we were married. Life felt like a dream until his mother, Evelyn, started tightening her grip. David's family lived in a pristine suburban neighborhood. Their house a showcase of wealth and status. My family were different. I grew up in a small, working-class town, an hour away. My parents, Maria and Tom, ran a diner, pouring love into every plate they served. They weren't rich, but they were everything to me: kind, honest, and fiercely loyal. Evelyn never hid her disdain for my roots. At our engagement party, she pulled me aside, her pearl necklace glinting under the chandelier. "You're lucky to be joining this family," she said, her voice sharp. "Your people, they're not our kind." I brushed it off, thinking she'd warm up. I was wrong. Her comments grew bolder, sly. Digs about my parents' greasy diner or my brother's dead-end mechanic job. David defended me, but Evelyn's words stung, planting seeds of doubt. Was I good enough for her perfect son? Our first year of marriage was blissful. Despite Evelyn's jabs, David and I built a cozy life in a modest apartment, balancing work and weekend visits to my parents. Those trips were my lifeline, laughing over Mom's homemade tamales, Dad's terrible dad jokes, and my brother's stories about fixing cars. But Evelyn noticed. At a family dinner, she cornered me in the kitchen, her eyes cold. "You're spending too much time with those people," she said. "It's not proper for our family." I laughed, thinking she was joking. Her face didn't crack. That was the first warning. The tension simmered quietly. Evelyn started inviting us to her lavish Sunday brunches, expecting us to cancel plans with my family. When I politely declined once, citing a visit to my parents, her smile vanished. "You need to prioritize David's family," she snapped. I held my tongue, not wanting to escalate, but inside, I was fuming. Who was she to dictate my life? My parents raised me to stand tall, and I wasn't about to let Evelyn erase them. David, caught in the middle, urged me to keep the peace. "She's just protective," he said. Protective or possessive? By our second anniversary, Evelyn's disapproval was a constant hum. She'd call David daily, questioning our choices, why we hadn't moved closer to her, why I didn't quit my teaching job to focus on family. My family visits became her obsession. She'd quiz me about them, her tone dripping with judgment. "What do you even do at that diner?" she'd ask, as if my parents' lives were beneath her. I started to notice David hesitating when I planned trips home. "Maybe we should skip this one," he'd say, glancing at his phone. I knew Evelyn was whispering in his ear. One evening, after a long day, I sat David down. "Your mom's trying to pull us apart from my family," I said, my voice trembling. He sighed, rubbing his temples. "She just wants what's best for us." I stared at him, my heart sinking. Was he siding with her that night? I lay awake, replaying Evelyn's words. Her disdain wasn't just about class, it felt personal. Like she saw my family as a threat. But why? What was she hiding? I had no idea the storm was about to break, and it would change everything. The air in our apartment felt heavier after that night. I couldn't shake the feeling that Evelyn was weaving a web around us. And David's reluctance to challenge her made it worse. I tried to keep things normal, planning a weekend visit to my parents' diner. I needed their warmth, their laughter, to ground me. But Evelyn had other plans. That Friday, she called David while we were packing. I overheard her voice through the phone, sharp and commanding. "You shouldn't be going there," she said. "It's not good for your future." David mumbled something and hung up, avoiding my eyes. I pressed him, but he just shrugged. "She's worried about us. That's all." The next morning, as I loaded our bags into the car, Evelyn showed up unannounced. She stood in our driveway, her designer coat pristine against the grey morning. "We need to talk," she said, her gaze fixed on me. My stomach twisted, but I nodded, following her to the living room. David hovered nearby, silent. Evelyn didn't waste time. "I'm forbidding you from visiting your family," she declared, her voice like steel. "They're unworthy of you and David. They're holding you back." I froze, her words slicing through me. Unworthy my parents, who'd sacrificed everything for me. My brother, who dropped anything to help I laughed. A bitter sound. "You can't be serious." She was. Her face was a mask of conviction, her eyes narrowing as she leaned forward. "This is about standards," she said. "Our family has a reputation. Your people, their diner. Their small-town ways, they don't fit." I felt my cheeks burn. "My family is my heart." I shot back. "You don't get to decide who they are." Evelyn didn't flinch. "I'm protecting David's future," she said. "And yours. If you'd stop being so stubborn." David shifted uncomfortably, but said nothing. I wanted to scream at him to speak up. But Evelyn's presence filled the room. Suffocating. I tried to reason with her. "Evelyn, they've done nothing wrong. They love us." She cut me off. "Love doesn't build a legacy. You're part of our family now. Act like it." Her words weren't just a ban, they were an erasure, a demand to sever my roots. I looked at David, waiting for him to defend me. He stared at the floor. Betrayal stung sharper than her words. "You're okay with this?" I asked him, my voice breaking. He mumbled, "Let's just talk later." Evelyn smirked. Sensing her victory, I stormed out, grabbing my keys. "I'm going to see my parents," I said, daring her to stop me. She didn't. But her silence was louder than any argument. Driving to the diner, my hands shook. I kept replaying her words, unworthy, unfit. How dare she? My parents weren't perfect, but they were real. Their love, unconditional. At the diner, Mom noticed my red eyes and hugged me tight. "What's wrong?" "Mega," she asked. I couldn't tell her yet. The shame of Evelyn's ban burned too deep. Instead, I helped serve coffee, letting the familiar chaos soothe me. Back home, David was waiting. "Mom's just looking out for us," he said, echoing her like a script. I snapped. "She's tearing us apart." "My family isn't the problem, she is." He sighed, frustrated. You're making this bigger than it is. Was I? Or was he blind to her control? That night, I lay awake, her ban echoing in my mind. Why was she so desperate to cut me off? It wasn't just snobbery. There was something deeper. Something she wasn't saying. Have you ever felt someone trying to rewrite your life? That's where I was. And I wasn't about to let her win. Evelyn's ban hung over me like a storm cloud. But I wasn't ready to confront her again. Not yet. I needed to understand why she was so hell-bent on cutting my family out. Was it really just her high society snobbery? Or was something else driving her? I started paying closer attention to her, watching for cracks in her polished facade. What I found made my skin crawl. Evelyn wasn't just judgmental, she was calculated. Every move designed to tighten her grip on David and me. At first, the clues were subtle. During her Sunday brunches, she'd steer conversations toward family legacy, dropping hints about how David's career, a rising star in finance, depended on the right connections. My family, with their diner and blue-collar lives, didn't fit her vision. But it went deeper. I noticed how she controlled David's time, calling him daily with urgent advice or guilting him into attending her charity galas. When I brought up my parents, she'd change the subject or flash a tight smile, like I'd mentioned something distasteful. It felt personal, like she saw my family as a rival for David's loyalty. One evening, while helping Evelyn clear dishes after dinner, I tested the waters. My mom's planning a birthday party for Dad. I said casually, "We're thinking of going." Her hand froze mid-wipe, and her eyes flicked to me, sharp as knives. "That's not necessary," she said. Her tone clipped. "David has a networking event that weekend." I pressed further. "It's just one day. Evelyn, family's important." She set the dish down hard, the clink echoing. "Some families drag you down," she said. "You should be elevating David, not tethering him to that place." Her venom stunned me. It wasn't just disdain, it was fear. Like my family threatened her entire world, David wasn't much help. When I told him about the exchange, he sighed. "She's intense, but she means well. Means well." I wanted to shake him. How could he not see her manipulation? But I saw it in his hesitation. The way he checked his phone after her calls, like a kid seeking approval. Evelyn wasn't just controlling me. She was pulling David's strings. And he was letting her. I started to wonder, was this about my family? Or was she afraid of losing her hold over a son? The next clue came unexpectedly. At a family gathering, Evelyn's sister, Margaret, let slip a comment while we chatted over coffee. "Evelyn's always been territorial," she said, chuckling. "Even as kids. She had to control everything, friends, family, you name it." I probed gently, and Margaret's smile faded. "She's scared of losing David," she whispered. "You're strong, and so's your family. That scares her." My heart raced. Was that it? Did Evelyn see my family's love as a threat to her influence? It made sense. But it didn't explain the band's ferocity. I started keeping a mental list of her tactics. The guilt trips, the subtle insults, the way she'd forget to invite my parents to holidays. Each move was a power play, designed to isolate me. But why go so far? What was she hiding? Have you ever sensed someone's motives but couldn't prove them? That's where I was. piecing together a puzzle with missing edges. I knew one thing: I couldn't let her win. My family deserved better, and so did I. I just needed proof, something to expose her game before it tore us apart. The weight of Evelyn's ban pressed harder each day, turning our home into a battleground. I refused to stop seeing my family, but every visit felt like defiance, a secret I had to guard. David was caught in the middle, his loyalty split between me and his mother. I could see it in his eyes, guilt when he sided with Evelyn, frustration when I pushed back. Our once easy marriage felt like walking on eggshells, and I hated it. How do you fight a war when the enemy's your family? Evelyn didn't let up. She'd call David with concerns about my priorities, her voice dripping with fake worry. One night, I overheard him on the phone, promising her we'd skip my parents' anniversary dinner. I confronted him, my voice shaken. "You're letting her erase my family," I said. He rubbed his face, exhausted. "She thinks it's best for us, for my career. My parents had nothing to do with his job. It was a flimsy excuse, and we both knew it." But David's hesitation told me Evelyn's grip was tightening. Her tactics grew bolder. At a family barbecue, she pulled me aside, her smile razor-sharp. "I heard you went to that diner again," she said, like it was a crime. "You're embarrassing David." My blood boiled. Embarrassing? My parents' diner was a community hub, a place of love and hard work. I snapped back. "My family is worth more than your country club." Her eyes narrowed, but she didn't argue, just walked away, leaving me fuming. Later, David whispered, "Don't provoke her. Provoke, she was the one waging war." The strain seeped into our daily life. David started working late, avoiding the tension at home. I felt alone, replaying Evelyn's words, unworthy, unfit. Was I losing him to her? One evening, I found a text from Evelyn on his phone. "Convince her to stop those visits. It's for your future." My heart sank. She wasn't just controlling. She was strategizing, turning my husband against me. I didn't tell David I saw the message. Instead, I started planning. If Evelyn wanted a fight, I'd give her one. But I needed to be smart. I tried talking to David again, hoping to break through. "Your mom's manipulating you," I said, keeping my voice steady. "She's scared of my family's love, of losing you." He scoffed, but I saw a flicker of doubt. "She's not that bad," he said, but his tone lacked conviction. I pressed on. "Then why is she so obsessed with my parents? What's she afraid of?" He didn't answer. But the question lingered, a seed I hoped would grow. Evelyn's next move was subtle but cutting. She forgot to invite my parents to our housewarming party, claiming it was an oversight. When I called her out, she sighed dramatically. "They wouldn't feel comfortable here," she said. "I was doing them a favor. It was a deliberate snub, and it hurt. My parents didn't deserve this. Neither did I. That night, I lay awake, anger burning. Evelyn wasn't just banning visits, she was trying to erase my identity. Have you ever felt someone trying to rewrite who you are? I wasn't going to let her. I needed a plan, and fast, before her lies tore my marriage apart. Evelyn's ban was a wound that wouldn't heal. But I couldn't keep fighting her without knowing the toll it was taking on my family. I needed to hear their voices, to know they were okay. So, one quiet afternoon while David was at work, I called my mom. The familiar jingle of the diner's bell in the background brought tears to my eyes. "Mia, we miss you," she said, her voice warm but tinged with worry. I hesitated, then spilled everything Evelyn's ban, her cruel words, the way she'd labelled them unworthy. The line went silent for a moment, and when Mom spoke again, her voice cracked. "We just want you happy," she said. "We don't want to cause trouble." Her words broke me. My parents, who'd given me everything, felt like burdens because of Evelyn's poison. I pressed for more. "How's Dad? How's Tony?" Mom sighed. Dad had been quieter lately, she said, hurt by our fewer visits. My brother, Tony, was angry, ready to drive over and confront Evelyn himself. "We feel like we're losing you," Mom admitted. My chest tightened. Losing me, Evelyn wasn't just banning visits, she was stealing my family's peace, their joy. I vowed to fix this, no matter what it took. I kept the call secret from David. Not because I didn't trust him, but because I needed space to think. That night, I lay awake, replaying Mom's words. My family's pain was real, and it fueled my resolve. Evelyn thought she could erase them, but she didn't know who she was dealing with. My parents raised me to fight for what matters, and I wasn't about to let her win. But I needed a plan, one that would expose her without tearing my marriage apart. Have you ever had to protect your family from someone else's cruelty? That's where I was. And it was time to act. The next day, I called Tony. His voice was gruff, protective. "I'll talk to her. Sis," he said, half joking, half serious. I laughed, but told him to hold off. "I need to do this my way," I said. He agreed, reluctantly, but shared something that stopped me cold. A few months back, Evelyn had driven by the diner, slow and deliberate, like she was sizing it up, creeped Mom out. He said. My skin prickled. Why would she do that? Was she spying? Gathering ammo for her lies? It was another piece of the puzzle. And it made me wonder what else she was hiding. I started digging, quietly. I asked Margaret, Evelyn's sister, to meet for coffee. She was hesitant but agreed. Over lattes. I probed gently. Why is Evelyn so fixated on my family? I asked. Margaret fidgeted, then leaned in. She's always been scared of losing control, she said. Your family's tight-knit. She can't compete with that. Compete. The word stuck with me. Was this a twisted rivalry? Margaret's words confirmed what I'd suspected. Evelyn's ban wasn't about class. It was about power. And my family's love threatened her throne. That night, I sat alone, piecing it together. Evelyn's insults, her spying, her manipulation. They were all moves to isolate me, to keep David under her thumb. But my family's pain gave me clarity. I wasn't just fighting for myself anymore, I was fighting for them. For the love that Evelyn couldn't break. I needed to confront her. But not yet. First, I'd gather more proof, build my strength, and show her that my family wasn't unworthy. They were unstoppable. I couldn't keep dancing around Evelyn's ban anymore. It was time to face her head on. My family's pain, her sneaky tactics, and David's wavering loyalty pushed me to a breaking point. I needed answers, and I wasn't going to let her slick words or icy stares stop me. One evening, after another tense dinner at her house, I seized my chance. David was in the den, chatting with his dad, and Evelyn was alone in the kitchen, arranging her perfect dessert tray. I took a deep breath and walked in. "We need to talk about my family," I said, my voice steady despite the knot in my stomach. She didn't look up, just kept slicing strawberries with surgical precision. "There's nothing to discuss," she said, her tone flat. That dismissal lit a fire in me. "You banned me from seeing them. Called them unworthy." I pressed. "Why? What's your problem with them?" Finally, she met my eyes, her gaze cold and unyielding. "They're beneath us," she said. "I'm protecting David's future from their influence." "Influence?" I laughed. Sharp and bitter. "You mean their love? Their strength? That's what scares you, isn't it?" Evelyn's knife paused, and for a split second, I saw a flicker of something guilt, maybe, or fear. But she recovered fast. "You're naive," she snapped. "David needs stability, not some greasy diner dragging him down." That's when I dropped my bomb. "I know you drove by their diner. Evelyn, spying on them." "Why?" Her face paled. Just for a moment, before she scoffed. "Don't be ridiculous. I was in the area. Liar." I pushed harder. "You made up stories about them, said they're unfit. But it's you who's hiding something." "What is it?" The kitchen felt like a battlefield, the air thick with tension. Evelyn set the knife down, her hands trembling slightly. "You're out of line," she hissed. "I'm doing what's best for my son." But her voice cracked, and I saw the mask slip in. I kept going. "You're controlling him, isolating me, because you're scared he'll choose my family over you. That's it, isn't it?" She didn't answer, but her silence was deafening. I'd hit a nerve. For the first time. Evelyn looked rattled, her usual composure fraying at the edges. David walked in, sensing the heat. "What's going on?" he asked, glancing between us. I didn't back down. "Your mom's lying about my family," I said. "She's been manipulating us both." Evelyn spun to him, her voice suddenly soft, pleading. "David, she's twisting things. I only want what's best for you." But David didn't rush to her side this time. He looked at me, then at her, his brow furrowed. "Mom, did you really go to their diner?" he asked. Evelyn's lips parted, but no words came. That hesitation was all I needed. The truth was clawing its way out. I left the kitchen, my heart pounding. Have you ever stood up to someone and felt the ground shift? That's where I was. Evelyn's lies were crumbling, but she wasn't done fighting. I knew she'd double down, spin more stories to save face. But I'd cracked her armor, and David was starting to see it. The confrontation didn't fix everything, far from it. But it gave me something I hadn't had before: momentum. I was ready to take the next step, to fight for my family, and show Evelyn that her control had an expiration date. The confrontation with Evelyn lit a spark in me, but it also left me restless. I'd exposed her lies, but she was still a wall between me and my family. David's hesitation in the kitchen gave me hope he was starting to question her, but I couldn't rely on him alone. I needed a plan to break Evelyn's ban for good and reconnect with my family in a way she couldn't sabotage. It had to be bold, undeniable. And it had to show her that my family's love was stronger than her control. Have you ever had to outsmart someone to protect what matters most? That's where I was, plotting my comeback. First, I reached out to my brother, Tony, over a late-night call. I laid out everything: Evelyn's ban, her spying, her lies. She's trying to erase us. I said. Tony's voice was fierce. Let's show her we're not going anywhere. We brainstormed, and an idea took shape: a surprise family gathering at the diner, a celebration to honor my parents' legacy. Not just a visitor statement. We'd invite David's whole family, including Evelyn, and let her see the love and community she'd tried to dismiss. If she refused to come, it'd expose her pettiness. If she showed up, she'd face the truth. I looped in Mom and Dad, who were hesitant at first. We don't want to stir trouble, Dad said, his voice soft. But when I told them how Evelyn's words had hurt me, Mom's resolve hardened. This diner's our heart, she said. Let's show her what it means. We set a date 2 weeks away and started planning. Tony rallied the town, spreading word about a diner family night. Regulars, friends, even the local pastor signed on. The event wasn't just for us. It was for everyone who'd ever felt judged or pushed aside. Next, I worked on David. He was still torn, caught between his loyalty to Evelyn and the cracks in her story. One night, I sat him down, my voice calm but firm. I'm throwing a party at the diner. I said, for my parents, for our community. I need you there. He frowned, wary. Mom won't like it. I held his gaze. This isn't about her. It's about us, our family. Are you with me for the first time? He didn't deflect. I'll think about it. He said, it wasn't a yes, but it was progress. I could see the wheels turning. He was starting to see Evelyn's control for what it was. I sent out invitations, including one to Evelyn, hand-delivered with a note. Join us to celebrate family. All families. I knew she'd hate it, but that was the point. She couldn't claim we were unworthy if she saw the love pouring through that diner. As the day approached, I felt a mix of nerves and fire. Tony reported the town was buzzing, tables booked, decorations ready. Mom was baking her famous pies, and Dad was polishing the jukebox. It was more than a party. It was a rebellion against Evelyn's lies. The night before, David surprised me. I'm coming, he said quietly. I want to see what this means to you. My heart leapt. He wasn't fully on my side yet, but he was stepping toward me. I knew Evelyn would fight back, she always did. But I was ready. This gathering wasn't just about defying her. It was about reclaiming my family, my roots, and showing the world that love doesn't bow to control. The stage was set, and I was done playing small. The night of the diner family night arrived, and the air buzzed with anticipation. The diner glowed with string lights, tables packed with neighbors, friends, and regulars laughing over plates of Mom's tamales and Dad's famous burgers. I stood by the door, heart racing, scanning for David and Evelyn. My family was here, whole and unbroken. But the real test was whether my plan would crack Evelyn's control. Have you ever staked everything on one moment to prove someone wrong? That's where I was, ready to show her my family's worth. David walked in first, his face nervous but warm. He hugged me, whispering, "This place is incredible." I smiled, relief washing over me. Then, to my shock, Evelyn appeared, her designer coat out of place among the checkered tablecloths. Her lips were a thin line, but she was here. I greeted her politely, hiding my triumph. "Welcome," I said. She nodded, eyes scanning the room like she was sizing up an enemy. The night was on. As the evening unfolded, the diner came alive. Tony spun stories about fixing cars, making the crowd roar. Mom and Dad worked the room, their love for this community shining. I watched Evelyn, waiting for her reaction. She sat stiffly, clutching her purse. But I caught her eyes soften when a local teacher thanked Mom for feeding her kids during tough times. David, meanwhile, laughed with my parents, his guard dropping. I could see it. He was remembering why I loved this place. Halfway through, I took the mic, my voice steady. Tonight's about family. I said, not just mine, but all of ours. No one's unworthy when love's at the table. The room cheered, and I locked eyes with Evelyn. Her face twitched, a mix of defiance and unease. Later, I pulled her aside. This is my family, I said. They're not holding me back. They lift me up. Can you say the same for once? She didn't argue. You don't understand, she muttered, but her voice lacked its usual bite. I'd shaken her. The turning point came when David stood up, unprompted. I've been wrong, he said to the crowd. This diner, these people, they're my family too. He looked at me. Then Evelyn, Mom, you were wrong about them. The room went quiet, all eyes on Evelyn. She stood, trembling, and left without a word. But her exit wasn't defeat. It was surrender. She'd seen the truth, and it broke her grip. Days later, David and I talked. He apologized, admitting Evelyn's control had blinded him. We started visiting my parents weekly, rebuilding what she'd tried to break. Evelyn stayed distant, but Margaret later told me she was unraveling. Her need for control rooted in fear of losing David to a stronger family. Her ban wasn't about class. It was about her own insecurities, exposed by our love. This fight taught me family isn't about status. It's about heart. Evelyn's ban failed because she underestimated us. If you're facing someone trying to tear you down, stand tall. Your roots are your strength. What would you do to protect yours? Share your thoughts below, and let's keep this conversation going. Evelyn's ban on my family sparked a battle of love versus control. Her elitist disdain labeled my parents unworthy. But her real fear was losing David to our tight-knit bond. I fought back, uncovering her lies and manipulation, from spying on the diner to guilting David. The diner family night was my rebellion, a celebration of community that exposed Evelyn's insecurities. David's public stand shattered her grip, and we rebuilt our family, free from her control. This story is a reminder. Love outshines power, and roots run deep. Never let anyone erase who you are. Stand up, fight back, and let your family's heart shine.